Simone, it's really a big pleasure to meet you finally, in person. I want to ask you a few questions. To me, it was, to be honest, a big news to know that the last moment you spent with Anatolio Bukreev, you were together on Annapurna. Can you bring me through the story, like what happened? And I know it would have been many, many years ago, but how was Anatoly? How do you remember everything, what happened? And just tell me a little bit.
It was nearly 30 years ago, because it was the Christmas day of 1997, so the 25th of December 1997, and we were on the south side of the Annapurna, and we were attempting to realize the first winter ascent of the south face of Annapurna. And I was together with Anatolio Bukreev and Dmitry Sobolev. Dmitry Sobolev, it was a very good cameraman, and so the idea was to realize this climb and also a movie about those winter climbs. Also because we have to remember that in 1997, it was already nearly 10 years that nobody in the world was climbing 1,000 meter peaks in winter. The winter climb was a specialty created by the Polish climber. So only Polish climbers were able to climb 8,000 meter peaks in winter. And something happened in 1988 that nobody continued this exploration to climb the 8,000 in winter. And we decided to see if it was arrived the time that someone also in a different country could be able to achieve such a result. And well, we were there without Sherpa, without oxygen, only 3 people, so it was a very light style. And make the story short, when we arrived 50 meters below the summit ridge, that it doesn't mean on the top, but we were 50 meters below the end of the technical part. We were on the left side, below the Annapurna Fang, that is a subsidiary summit of Annapurna. I was leading, and suddenly a huge cornice that was on the edge of the ridge, it cracked and he fell off, and he fell on us. And the face was very steep, and so this massive volume of tons and tons of ice and snow fell on us, and we flew. I remember we flew 800 meters, because I was checking the altimeter a few minutes before. It was 6,300 meters, and after a few seconds, when I was bleeding and miraculously alive, my watches was 5,500. 12:36 p.m. I will remember forever. And unfortunately, there was no sign of Anatoly and Dmitry. I was screaming, calling them multiple times. I was trying to look for them, even I was badly injured. But I understood that I was the only person alive, and they were probably under tons and tons of ice. Just to give you an idea, the place where I landed, it was previously, a few minutes ago when we crossed it, it was full of crevasses, serac, more or less like icefall on Everest. And after this huge avalanche, it was like a football field, completely flat, no crevasses, all full. So probably they are there, under there. And Anatoly was a special person. It was my hero, and I had the privilege also to become one of his best friends. He was calling me my little brother. He was nearly 10 years older than me. But we chose each other as a climbing partner in 1996, so one and a half years before. Immediately after the tragedy of Everest, the famous book John Krakauer wrote about that story, it talks also about Anatolio Bukreev in the wrong way, because he's described as the guilty, or he has some responsibility. He is just a hero of that story, okay? Just a hero with zero responsibility. And he is told not only by me, but he's told by all the climbing community in the world, okay? And he was suffering a lot about this accusation. And when we met, it was still fresh, the pain of those stories. And we climbed Shisha Parma together, and then we start to talk each other. And this Russian hero and this Italian guy become so friendly and friends, and we became a special team. So then we went to climb Lhotse, and then we decided to go on Annapurna. And unfortunately, I was, and I am, the only person, the last person who saw Anatolio Bukreev and Dmitry Sobolev alive.
How did your life change after that event?
You know, when you challenge your life, or when you experience, because it was not a challenge, when you experience such tragedy, you have two choices: or give up and believe that staying at home you find the safety,
Yeah.
or to stop some months, and I had to stop to recover from the bad injury, and do the simple question to yourself. And the simple question I did to myself is, Simone, why you was there? Someone pushed you to be there? And the answer is no. Okay, what you was looking there? Fame? No. You was looking success? No. So what you was looking? And the answer is happiness. Because climb mountain, I found the happiness. With or without summit, in any case, I came home a happy person, and a different person, a better person. So if climb mountain, it had been the way how I discovered and I found the happiness. Well, when you find the happiness, is even more intense than when you find love, okay? And you are not able to manage and think to lose love for some convenient other things. So when you find the happiness, you grab the happiness because it's the sense to be alive, okay? So I said, okay, Simone, if you find the happiness, even it was a tragic moment in this path, you have to continue to do it. Also on the memory of another person, Anatoly, who was happy to be there in that winter because we choose to be there. And so I decided to continue, and it was a good decision because the Simone Moро after the tragedy is a better Simone. I like much more myself after than not before. So it changed me a lot. And also to be so long time with Anatoly changed me a lot because he teach me so many things.
Can you tell me like few things that he taught you?
Well, I just tell you one sentence that is very important. He told me, Simone, if you want to become a strong high altitude mountaineers, it will be not only a matter of training or physical attitude, muscular attitude. You have to become a high altitude animal. It means you have to smell the danger. You have to become like a snow leopard.
Yeah.
The snow leopard is not running behind the other animal to hunt them. The snow leopard is hiding himself and wait the right moment to grab what you have to do. And this is the same also in the high altitude. Sometimes you don't have always to rush up and down, up and down, up and down. You have to stay there, wait the right good window moment, the right condition, and then boom, jump on them. So let's say the metaphor is a high altitude mountaineer has to be like a snow leopard instead of another animal who has to run a lot behind the others.
Do you think he felt anything before the day he died? Like, was there any signs that he was actually smelling it?
I think yes. All those who are going to the Annapurna Sanctuary base camp will find a monument dedicated to Anatolio Bukreev. And that monument is in a special place because I was watching Anatoly many times going that place and watching the mountain, and he was moving the nose exactly like a lion or a gazelle. He was feeling or smelling something, and probably he was feeling a particular danger, okay? And you know, a gazelle sometimes is moving the nose and he escaped without seeing the lion. There are some other gazelle who are moving the nose and wait that the lions appear and then they run away, but it's too late. So Anatoly is the confirm that the humans can predict everything, because if he could predict the death, he would escape. But believe me, he was a special person with a special soul, a pure soul. And you know, it changed me also the mentality that I have related with the Russian culture and the Russian country. You know, I came from Italy. I have certain historical and political influence. So the humans usually are more oriented in define good people and bad people. Okay, and this is the biggest mistake that the humans are always doing, because they sometimes define bad or good people that they never met, just because they have some ideas that is an artificial idea. So when I met Anatoly, I discovered a completely different kind of person that I was expecting to meet. Very sensible, very quiet, oriented to listen instead of talking. So it was probably the most modern and open-minded person that I found. So that's why I fall in love with all the Russian culture. And when I said Russian, I use the words that it doesn't exist. All the Soviet words, okay? When I said Russian, I include also Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Ukraine, Russia, and Georgia. So all this big portion of word is a piece of word that I fall in love a lot. And that's why I'm always climbing mostly with Russian people, or Kazakhstan people, or Georgian people, or Siberian people, and so on.
You know, I'm starting my climbing life
Yeah.
just like a few
Yeah.
years ago, right? A lot of people ask me, Victoria, you know, it's very dangerous. You can die. You have a daughter. I guess you get these questions, right, from your side. What is the risk, and how do you actually explain people why you go into the mountains? Because it could be, I always say that, and I understand it could be one-way ticket. What can you say when people ask you those questions?
Well, life is a one-way ticket. What is certain, we never ask to born, and we will never ask to die, but we born and we die. So it is a ticket with the different timing, okay? It's like to take a train and you don't know exactly in which station you are requested to descend, okay? And well, you have two options. Stay seated boring and see which is the destination, or you are looking for your destination. And the destination is not a physical destination, it's a soul destination called happiness. So the only advice, and the biggest advice that I gave to any humans, mountaineers, doctors, lawyers, teacher, priest, whoever, is that we are here for a very short period of time, giving a sense of this lottery that we won. And we have to look for happiness. And when you find the happiness in curing people, in teaching people, in climbing mountain, or to be a mother, to be a doctor, to be a priest, well, if this give you happiness, is giving sense of your tickets. So don't fall in the trap to explain to the other why you are doing something. You have just to explain to yourself, are you using the time, this lottery time you have here, to become an intense person who is living an intense life? If the answer is yes, you don't have to explain to any other else. You are responsible of yourself. And remember, before to be able to love someone, you have to learn to love yourself. And when you love yourself, you have a lot of love to give to the other. When you hate yourself, or when you sacrifice permanently yourself just to try to love the other, you are not an example, because you don't know the love. You are trying to give some other people the love, but you are not experiment love on yourself.
Do you believe in destiny? Do you believe that everything that should happen will happen, or you create your own destiny?
Partially, yes. I believe in God, and these good things, because when you feel a hero, when you feel great, when you feel famous and rich and beautiful and smart, you understand that there is something much greater that give you the perspective and the perception of who you are really. And the destiny, I believe in the destiny, but it's not written before you born. You are writing your destiny. It's like to be lucky or unlucky. Lucky is not only a pure lottery. You can help the luck, what it means. If it is late, if you are tired, if it is cold, and you are 200 meters to the summit, and you gave up and come back, you probably will survive. If you continue to the summit, and if you are still alive, in that case is pure luck. But sometimes you have to help the luck and the destiny. So just believing that everything is written is too easy. We have also this freedom to influence our destiny. In fact, also in the religious approach, we are free to decide our destiny and also our relation. And so we can, let's say, adjust the path that is written for us, okay? And this is another wonderful thing. So we have to look for in which we are able to manage our destiny.
You know, you saved a lot of people during the rescue. So you see a lot of people get bad injured sometimes, or get tired, frozen, nearly dead. What you can describe that there is something that connecting all these people or all this situation? Is there anything you discover about it? Like, you know, doing this for so many years and seeing people nearly dead, like, is there anything you noticed that
Yes,
no one can
one
see?
thing that I noticed is very few people after that moment said never again. Most of the people, they return with a new approach, with a learning approach, with a more prudent approach. But very few people, when they experience that, said, "Who, I'm lucky, now I stay seated on the sofa because sofa is safe. Sofa is boring, sofa is not life," okay? We are all adventurer in the medicine, I told you, in the faith, in the soul, in the school, in many things. To be an explorer, it doesn't mean to go in the middle of nowhere, no. There are also these explorers. We are also these explorers. But life is like a wonderful perfume, okay? If you know that it's wonderful, and if you always keep and you never use this perfume because it's very precious, at the end you don't feel it if it's good or not. So life is precious. It's like a nice perfume, very expensive, very rare. So little bit everyday sense of life, okay? So that's why don't fall in the trap just to protect your life, okay? Because they are protecting something that when you die, the perfume is still there. You even never feel the smell of that perfume.